And then put your hands on top of your folders. Right hand over left. Now, face forward. No gawking around and, it's just 5 minutes of quiet time. We can do that much. We can do that much. All right, everyone, close your eyes. Close your eyes. No more fidgeting. No more fidgeting. Now, shh. That's enough fidgeting. Let's stop. We can move the chairs later. Close your eyes, everyone. Now, gently put your attention on your breathing. Let's stop shuffling the chairs now. Gently put your attention on the breathing. When thoughts come, or a feeling, or a physical sensation, just let it go. Put your attention back on your breathing when you realize that, oh, my breathing. Don't concentrate. Just gently our attention. Now slowly open your eyes. Don't press real hard when you put the heels of your hand here, just lightly. All we're doing is warming, the area from the friction in our hands to help relax the eyes a little bit. That's all. Nothing real mystical about it. Okay, so before we start off the class, I need you to be able to get the camera for me and the kids, and I'll do the summary of what we're going to be covering today. So this is, oh, come on. So in this class, this is called value education. But what does that mean? Value means it has some benefit, doesn't it? That's what value means, has a benefit to each of you. And these benefits are in the form of positive character traits. A character trait is something like kindness, compassion, honesty. We're going to be discussing these. And why are they important? Why are they important? Because as we interact with each other, we want others to respect us. We want others to believe what we say and tell them is going to be the truth. We want to be able to help someone if they're in need, because it makes us feel better. And also that someone may help us when we are in need. So there are very practical values to this material. They help us in our interactions with each other, with our friends, family, and our community, our school, our teachers. All of these areas benefit when we not only understand, but practice these values. It makes life smoother. We become happier, more at ease and relaxed. We flow with life instead of pushing against it. Does that make sense? That's why we're going to be studying this. Now, so if we're talking about this value education business, go to your first page in your books and let's review, as an introduction, what all of this means. So, values are positive character traits that are essential for positive or good human behavior. In other words, good human behavior more or less just means we're a good and nice person. Nothing real fancy, about it. Education from a long time ago has been focused on Values like cooperation, respect for human rights, tolerance, justice, responsible citizenship. So these are things that we should be studying in addition to our academic subjects. Because when we learn maths and science, why do we do that? We learn it so that when we go out into the world, we can earn a living, put a roof over our heads, food in our stomach, right? Well, in order to do that, we have to interact with other people, other human beings. And having knowledge of intellectual subjects like maths and science and geography is not enough. It just is not enough, because it misses a very important part of the equation, which is human interaction, interacting with others. So how can we work with others and show these qualities that we learned in academic subjects if we don't know how to work with other people? Right? So that's how important this is. It goes hand in hand with our academic education. One without the other on either side is not going to work. Both must be there. Our social skills, our human skills, as well as our intellectual skills. Does that make sense? They both have to go together. Now, value education also highlights the need for removing intolerance, violence, superstition, and upholding our culture and scientific principles as well. Scientific principles mean logic, reason, and getting rid of superstition, violence. These things are what we would call anti-social, or go against society or the group that we belong to. So we want to remove things like this person's clothes aren't as nice as mine, or they come from a different part of the country or different society. It just doesn't matter. They're human beings like we are. And every human being wants to be able to be respected and give respect and honor and trust to each other. So anytime you think that because you have fancier clothes and you're a little bit smarter or cooler, don't get caught in that trap, because ultimately it doesn't mean anything. It just perpetuates or keeps on with the illusion of separation, of distance from other human beings, when what we want to do is be able to work closer with others in harmony, with respect for the person, not the clothing they wear, not how much they know or don't know. That's, it's not relevant. And I guarantee you, if you learn these and practice them, then others will begin treating you the way you treat them. The old saying, that golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And it also has to do with a subject that in India we should know very well, and that is karma, action and reaction. For every action, this is a third law of thermodynamics, I think, there is an equal and opposite reaction. All that says is it's the law of karma. What you sow, that you will reap. What you put out, you will get in return. So if you want to be respected, give respect. If you want to have harmony with other people, then you initiate it. Don't wait for somebody else. Well, they didn't do it for me, why should I do it for them? No. Always take the first step. Always never be afraid to reach your hand out being helpful, regardless of what the other person thinks or does. You're responsible for you, not for them. Don't expect them to be the same way you are. That's a bad trap. Because expectation of having the world or others treat us well because we're a good person and we're treating everybody else nicely, why can't you do that to me? You can control what you do. You can't control what anybody else does. You're not responsible for them. You're responsible for you. Remember that, because ultimately, what you send out, you're going to get back one way or another. It's universal law. Now, an integral part of a balanced education system not only seeks to develop positive character traits in students, but also provides students with tools like meditation, which foster and improve mental stability, clarity, and calmness, both body and mind. So we learn the principles or concepts intellectually. Then we must have a practical tool which helps us enable these things or help make them work. If we are calm, doesn't that make sense that we're going to think more clearly? If we're calm, should we not then learn a little bit easier because there's not a lot of noise rattling around in our heads? So things like meditation have a very practical value in that it calms the mind, gives the body rest, it integrates us more as a whole human being with the intellectual and the inner qualities. We could call them spiritual, we could call them good character traits, but it integrates them, puts them all together to work together. Now, next page. For thousands of years, and we're talking upwards around 15,000 years, India has been the spiritual lighthouse of the world. And developing techniques of introspection and meditation practices. These tools were designed to calm the mind and strengthen the body by providing the stability of deep relaxation and mental clarity. I know you probably haven't heard a lot about this up to this point in your lives, but it is the foundation of everything that comes afterward. It is the foundation of everything that you do, everything that you learn, all of your interactions with others. They come out from you. If you are agitated, if you're tired and stressed, that's going to be reflected in your behavior, isn't it? It's just natural. Conversely, or on the opposite side, if we're more relaxed physically and mentally, and mind is more clear, then we're going to act in a way that reflects that clarity, reflects that calmness in our world and interactions with other people. Does that make sense? Just, if you try this and it works, then continue. If it doesn't, find something that does. But we must have that stable platform inside before we can hope to be truly successful and happy in our dealings with others and the world on the outside. Because it all starts here. It all starts here. Now, a complete and balanced educational system inherently, or inside of it, promotes both academic excellence and the development of core positive character traits. And part of building those positive character traits are tools like meditation. So meditation and positive character traits go together to help enable academic excellence. That we learn easier, we retain things more because the mind isn't so cluttered and agitated all the time with thoughts which are not useful. They're just noise. And noise inhibits proper learning. Noise in the mind and in the body degrades our health. So we're talking survival techniques on the outside and on the inside. And we want students to develop not just intellectual skills to excel and be competitive in the world environment, but also a more calming and caring nature to help foster the spirit of cooperation and respect for others. You see how those go together? Building your intellectual skills helps you to broaden your picture of the world. How you interact, how you work with that broader picture is based on your internal character traits, your internal values. This determines whether we interact with the world in a positive and life-supporting manner or a destructive manner. Look at our world around us today. If more people around the world meditated, I guarantee you we wouldn't have the disruptions and wars that we're seeing where one person fights another person just because they believe or think differently than they do. We learn greater harmony in life, which is truly the foundation of a good and productive life. Fighting never accomplishes anything but to destroy. There is no positive outcome to fighting or war or anything which is destructive. But there never is, never has been, and never will be. Now is the time in this age that we must revive, we must bring back those things which India as a country has had for thousands upon thousands of years, but unfortunately has been forgotten by most of the people. How many people have read the Bhagavad Gita? How many people have read the Upanishads, the Ramayana, or really tried to understand these greater spiritual principles which the rishis, the sages, from thousands of years ago found by going deep within through meditation and then bringing it out and trying to bring that to the world so that the world could feel that joy, feel that harmony and love, which they found within themselves. It's time for us to revitalize that, to revive it, by starting with ourselves first. I found it very distressing that most of my students have never read these great scriptures, never looked at or tried to remember what the greatest value of India has provided to the world for thousands of years. I mean, I know this from personal experience that when I was young, not much older than you folks are here, I wound up in a jungle, in a war, with people shooting at me and me shooting back, and explosions going off around me and people dying. And then I just had this thought, is this what life is? Is all this craziness the way human beings are supposed to be? And something inside of me said, no, this is not right. There's something inherently wrong in this insanity. And I started reading books on philosophy, which didn't get me anywhere. And I almost stumbled into meditation by a dear friend seeing how stressed I was. And instead of trying to explain what I'm trying to explain to you, I was told to sit down, shut up, do what she tells me, my teacher, and that when we were done, I could ask questions. That's how I started to learn to meditate when I was 21 years old. I was a late bloomer. But in that short little brief time, there was a light, small light inside that I saw that was not there before in this big field of darkness. And that one little teensy bit of light in the darkness drew me to it, saying that there is something here that is worth exploring more. I felt more quiet and calm. And over time, because I'm a very practical person, I do what works. And I continued on, that light got brighter. The darkness started to recede more and more. And over time, I said, this has got to be more what life should be, and not the way that I'm seeing it out in the world, where there is more peace, more calmness. And when we have that, it's easier to love ourselves and to see that beauty, that divine essence or energy that is within us. And we can see that. Then we can see it in others. And how can we hurt that which we are part of? So there are so many things, new worlds, new understandings that can open far more than what we have today. And I can tell you from a lifetime of doing this that it does work. Not only am I a happier person, but I was also very successful on the outside. You know, made lots of money, traveled the world, but I did that because it was just fun. I loved what I did. I loved the people that I work with, and that love starts here. And it doesn't matter if you're a street sweeper, if you're an engineer, a doctor, a carpenter. What you do doesn't matter that much. But what you are is of supreme importance. Because I tell you this, and remember it, you can't take any of this with you. When you leave this world, when you die, all that stuff stays here. You came into this world without that, and you're going to leave without it. Any material wealth, family, friends, it's all temporary. Is there something permanent that is truly yours, that no one can take from you? No one can change it, because it is that bit of God, if you will, that is within you. And when we see that, all the rest of this stuff out here just falls into line. And we don't have to work so hard. And that lives on, no matter what happens to this body. All the money that we made is going to go to somebody else. All the stuff that we've accumulated is going to go to somebody else. But that we take with us. And that is something that is worth growing in our lives. Because that is the foundation of true happiness, true harmony, and the basis of all these positive character traits that we're going to be discussing over the next several weeks. So, we're looking at these positive character traits like compassion, kindness, generosity, truthfulness. These are things that help us move through life more easily, that help us see the value in others, because we can see it in ourselves. And others are simply, what we see in them is a reflection of what we see in ourselves. Because it's we who are making the determination of what we see in others. They have nothing to do with it. They're just being what they are. So what we see, what we feel, how we act, is purely our responsibility. And as such, if we can do so in a more harmonious and loving way, then that will, one way or another, come back to us in our life. Then don't expect things to magically happen automatically just because you've been a really nice person for a couple of months. Life is going to be what it's going to be. How we deal with it, how we react, how we interpret it is purely on us. So let life flow and flow with it and not against it. There's the benefit of these positive character traits and of the tools that you can use to help enable them. So, is there any question as to what we're going to be covering in the class, why it's important, what relevance it has in each of your lives? What meaning does it have? Is there any questions on that? Okay, how are we doing on time?